In the 14th century, Europe was struck by one of the deadliest pandemics in history, the Black Death. This was no ordinary disease, but a disaster that would change the world forever. It is estimated that between 75 to 200 million people across Europe, Asia, and Africa lost their lives in just a few short years, wiping out up to 60% of Europe's population. But how did such a deadly plague take hold, and what impact did it have on society? Before we dive deeper, welcome to Legends and Legacies. If you enjoy learning about historical events and their lasting impact, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. The Black Death began in Asia, where the disease spread along trade routes to Europe. By 1347, it reached the Mediterranean, carried by merchant ships. These ships brought more than just goods. They also carried rats, which were infected with fleas carrying the bacterium Yersinia pestis, the cause of the plague. The rats and fleas spread quickly, infesting the homes and cities of Europe. It didn't take long before humans became infected too, and once that happened, there was no stopping the pandemic. In cities like Genoa and Venice, which were major trade hubs, the disease spread like wildfire. People, unaware of the danger, continued with their daily lives in crowded markets and busy streets, making it easy for the plague to spread further. Symptoms were terrifying. Infected individuals would develop fever, chills, headaches, and fatigue. The most distinct sign of the plague was the appearance of large, painful lumps called buboes in the armpits, groin, and neck. These buboes would turn black as the tissue inside died, leading to the name Black Death. In some cases, victims would develop blackened skin or suffer severe internal bleeding. The disease progressed rapidly, and many people would die within 3 to 7 days of showing symptoms. The speed with which it killed shocked everyone, and the fear spread almost as quickly as the plague itself. As the plague swept through Europe, entire towns and villages were wiped out. The death toll was so high that it created a labor shortage, with workers and farmers dying at an alarming rate. In some areas, entire families were wiped out, leaving homes empty and abandoned. Mass graves were dug to accommodate the overwhelming number of bodies. There was simply no way to bury the dead fast enough. Cities like Florence, Paris, and London, once thriving centers of commerce and culture, became ghost towns. People were too afraid to leave their homes or even bury their loved ones. The streets were filled with the sick, the dying, and the dead. But as the plague continued to spread, society began to react. The initial response was confusion and panic. People turned to religion for comfort, believing that the plague was a punishment from God for their sins. Some would go on religious pilgrimages, hoping that prayer and penance would save them. Others believed that the plague was caused by bad air, or miasma, and resorted to burning incense and wearing masks filled with sweet-smelling herbs to protect themselves. In some places, people blamed minorities, particularly Jews, accusing them of poisoning wells and spreading the disease. This led to horrific massacres and violence against Jewish communities across Europe. The Black Death also had a profound impact on the way people thought about the world. In the wake of the plague, there was a greater emphasis on learning and the sciences. As people searched for answers, they began to turn to reason and observation instead of relying solely on religious explanations. This shift in thinking helped lay the groundwork for the Renaissance, a period of great cultural and intellectual awakening in Europe. People began to study medicine, art, literature, and philosophy in new ways, leading to some of the greatest advancements in human history. The aftermath of the Black Death, Europe was forever changed. While it took generations for the population to recover, the plague had reshaped the political, economic, and cultural landscape. It led to a more modern world where new ideas flourished, and society began to evolve beyond the old feudal structures that had dominated for centuries. The Black Death left a deep scar on Europe, but it also helped pave the way for a new era of exploration, discovery, and growth. Today, we remember the Black Death not only as a tragedy, but also as a turning point in human history. The plague brought death and destruction, but it also led to the rise of new ideas, new technologies, and new social systems. The Black Death is a reminder of the resilience of humanity in the face of unimaginable challenges, and it teaches us that even in the darkest moments, we have the power to rebuild, adapt, and change the world for the better.